Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Classy Podcast, which is the final show that has yet to be revealed. Now, the Classy Podcast is going to have a few different types where we're going to do a few different things on. I may just do a lone talk show, which I'm doing today. I may do a talk show. My brother's outside. I may do a talk show with some other people, or I may host a debate. Which I will probably try and do. But today we're going to be doing a lone talk show Q&A. I have written 10 questions, and I'm going to go through all these questions and give my answers. We're also not going to do any editing. There are no cuts, so it'll be all live, so just do bear with me. I know I kind of do stop, and I don't really edit too much because I feel like that kind of does ruin some of the stuff. But we're going to try and take this as live as possible. So the first question that I have asked myself is, what is worse, Batman vs. Superman, Dawn of Justice, or Suicide Squad? And I think the obvious answer to that question is Batman vs. Superman. Batman vs. Superman was so much worse. Well, I do think that, yes, you can kill me if you want. I do actually kind of like Lex Luthor. I do think that I don't think that the way they were going with Lex Luthor was not right, but since they chose that way, Lex Luthor was portrayed very appropriate for the way they wanted him to be. But definitely Batman vs. Superman was better. It had a way worse story, way worse acting. Suicide Squad actually had a lot of incredible acting aside from Joker. Everyone else was fantastic, and it just had the worst story, the worst dialogue. Ben Affleck was fine, or Ben Affleck was great, but that was really it. So I definitely think Batman vs. Superman is worse. And then our second question is, worst and best remake of the summer. And I think the worst remake is definitely Ben-Hur. Ben-Hur, it just didn't have, it's not, Ben-Hur, the original, is not something that you can improve on. It's tied for the most Academy Awards with Lord of the Rings and Titanic. You really can't. If it's up there with Lord of the Rings, it's Return of the King and Titanic, I don't really think you can fix it. And honestly, it just didn't. I think it had some great moments in it. The only thing that was really improved on was the ship battle, which you could actually see through the eyes of the slaves that are actually rowing the boat, which I thought was fantastic. But it just didn't really improve on anything, which are really what remakes are supposed to do, is improve on what the flaws of the original movie. And it was kind of pointless. However, I did really enjoy it myself. I'm a big fan of war movies and stuff like that, so I enjoyed it. I saw it for my birthday. It was a lot of fun. I just don't think it was that was fantastic. And the best remake is definitely Pete's Dragon. Now, you know how Ben-Hur was not a movie to improve on? Pete's Dragon is a movie to improve on, and it definitely was fantastic. It was great for the kids and the adults. It had fantastic acting, even for the kid. He was all right. The kids were okay. The CG was magnificent, and the story did kind of deliver a message of environmentalism, and it didn't. Again, it didn't give a clear bad guy. Because it showed the oppositions of loggers. You see how a forester and a logger were living together. So it didn't have. So I think that was an environmentalist movie, or if it can even be called one, did do its job like that. And the only thing that really pissed me off about that movie was that the dragon had fur. People are like, he didn't look friendly if he had scales. Have you met Toothless? Toothless is amazing, and he's adorable, and he has scales. So that really is the only thing that pissed me off. But that really has nothing to do with the quality of the movie. And then just somewhere in between there is Ghostbusters 2016. And then the most 4 is the most underrated movie of the summer. Now I'm actually going to give an honorable mention here. I think an honorable mention is definitely the BFG. It was not appreciated as much as I thought it was. The effects were beautiful, the acting was great, but I think the most underrated movie in terms of quality is definitely Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Out of the Shadows. I recently saw this, and I was surprised at all backlash it got. I thought it was great. It was definitely better than X-Men Apocalypse. I'm sorry, not great. It was good, but it wasn't fantastic. It wasn't fantastic, but it wasn't as bad as the first one. It was definitely better than X-Men Apocalypse, which I saw, which was incredibly disappointing. But it was completely underrated. It improved on everything, literally everything. Nothing was the same. Everything improved. Splinter was more of a father. He was humorous and not a jerk. The brothers actually were they acted like brothers and were the main stars of the movie. And I don't think that it got as much recognition as it should have been. Well, it was kind of mindless, and the last part of the movie, like the last part of the first one, was sloppy. It was still really good, and I really enjoyed it. And then number 5 is the most effortless movie of the summer. A movie that that had no effort thrown into at all. It was there was no it was just no one really, you could tell that no one worked on this movie. It just didn't have any effort thrown into it at all, and that is Suicide Squad. While it's not the worst movie of the summer, you can tell it's not trying. It really just is not. It's not doing what you want it to do, and so therefore I claim the effortless. Honorable mention is the Angry Birds movie and Tarzan, Legend of Tarzan. And then number 6 is the most hardworking movie of the summer. Now, I don't actually have an answer for this, but okay, let me think. I'm going to go with Finding Dory. Well, I don't think it's the best. It was definitely up at the top. It definitely worked hard to achieve what it did, and it was amazing follow-up to a 10-year-old, 13-year-old, I think it's, I don't know how old Finding Nemo is, but it definitely worked hard to achieve its greatness. While it wasn't as good as Finding Nemo, it was definitely great. Some honorable mentions there are Pete's Dragon and Captain America Civil War. Also, I'm assuming Kubo and the Two Strings is really hardworking. I haven't seen it quite yet, but we will. And then number 7, we have the most underrated character in Captain America Civil War. And when you think of Captain America Civil War, you don't really think of underrated characters or stuff like that. I mean, like, there are some characters that no one cares about, like Hawkeye. And then there are characters that everybody loves, like Spider-Man. But I definitely think, in terms of underrated, I really don't see any characters underrated aside from one person who I can see why people skipped out on reviewing his role, because it was so minor. But I thought it was incredibly, it was really good. It definitely had the plot moving faster than it was before, and that is Martin Freeman's role as Everett Ross. It was no critic or reviewer talked about his role, which kind of was disappointing because everyone was hyping his role in the movie, and then nobody talked about him. It's kind of like the Bayesian Canadian in the Sidemen charity match. Everyone was hyped that he was in the game, then nobody said crud about him. His role was great. I thought the American accent that they put on was great. He definitely delivered an American type person, and I would love to see him in the Black Panther movie. Definitely a movie I think he could portray his character well in. Alright, number 8 is the most overrated character in Suicide Squad. And the obvious answer for this is... Wait, sorry, I'm going to go back to 7. Also, some honorable mentions for underrated character are... what's his name? Thunderbolt Ross and Vision and Black Widow. I mean, not Black Widow, Scarlet Witch. Right, most overrated character in Suicide Squad. It is El Diablo. Everyone in the review saying, "Oh, he has the most emotion and stuff like." No, it was completely passed over. His powers, they're fine, but he just got squished. He wasn't given any good lines or rules. They just squashed anyone you didn't know and kept the fan service. Killer Croc. But only some. He was definitely very overrated. And then two or just one honorable mention, is the Joker. And then number 9 is the movie of the summer to skip. And the movie of the summer I think you should skip is the Angry Birds movie. You can go without seeing this movie. It's so incredibly pointless, so incredibly not worth watching in theaters, especially. It just wasn't worth your time. I mean, sure, kids will enjoy it, but even then, it's still not very good. I mean, you can definitely give your kids a more entertaining movie to watch. It's a lot more. It even has like adult humor, which I don't think you really want your kids watching, but it's just not what I want to watch in a summer movie. While the summer movies weren't exactly amazing, this is definitely one that you can just completely ignore. And then number 10 is who is better, Jane from Legend of Tarzan or Harley Quinn from Suicide Squad? And again, the obvious answer to this, it's Harley Quinn. Harley Quinn was one of the movie's best qualities. She was awesome. While the Joker was a pile of crap, Harley was amazing. She was creepy, yet charming, and just really all around great acted. And it's the Harley you wanted. While the costume was kind of nobody liked that costume. She was still well acted, well portrayed, and I definitely think better than Jane from Tarzan. Well, those are all the questions. I hope you enjoyed this video. Please do make sure to like, comment, and subscribe, and I will see you in the next video. Bye-bye.